We're joined by Hussain Abdul-Hussain. He's a research fellow at the Foundation for Defence of Democracies, the FDD. Welcome to the programme, Hussain. Good to see you as always. So, I mean, Prime Minister Netanyahu, he seemed pretty upbeat, didn't he, about the prospect of an agreement with Syria. Do you think Israel can trust Damascus?
Well, I think it needs a bit more than trust at this point. It's not only about handing the Syrians territory back and going back to the 1974 truce line. It also includes Israel having enough trust to stop policing whatever happens inside of Syria. That's a big leap of faith to my mind. And as long as policing doesn't stop, I don't think that the Syrians are willing to sign this agreement. So even though everyone seemed to be upbeat, I just don't see how this is happening soon or in the near future.
Too many obstacles in the way for now. Well, al-Sharaa was warmly embraced, wasn't he, at the United Nations last week by the United States, by European leaders, by the Arab world. Is he unstoppable at this point?
I think he's certainly growing in confidence and bolstered by the global recognition that he's winning. And we see him increasingly veering of the script. He's been scripted since he came to power in December of last year. But I think now we tend to see we tend to hear his true perspective. And his true perspective is not really the man who's seeking peace or the man who's seeking an inclusive and democratic Syria. He's just more of the same, albeit with more of an Islamist tinge than his predecessor or other autocrats in the region.
Well, given his ideology, given his background, what do you think his plan is for Syria?
He thinks that he can replicate the Turkish model, which I think is, and by itself, an issue. Another Turkey, even on a smaller scale, is not really ideal. We know that Turkey has one of the most populist governments in the region. If this is what Sharaa is seeking, I don't think this is a big prize. Maybe it's a big prize for him. But what he thinks he can do is that he thinks that he can grow the economy without offering any real reform or concessions or inclusivity, including the Kurds and the Druze and the Alawites in the rule. I don't think that'll happen, but for some reason, he and many officials, including U.S. diplomats and many leaders in the region, think it's possible. I disagree.
He does rule over a coalition of various militia, doesn't he? Some of them backed by Turkey, some of them coming from further afield, but they do all share a jihadist ideology. I think it's fair to say that. Do you think al-Sharaa can control all of these various militia?
Everyone has doubts about the extent of Sharaa's control of these militias. There are certainly militias that are directly connected to Turkey that do not take orders from him and that might even threaten his very rule. But on the Islamist side, I think this is now going beyond Syria. You see a surge of Islamism across the region. In Jordan, even in a country like Jordan that has banned the Muslim Brotherhood, you still see waves of Islamists daring the authorities and going out in public. Lebanon, too, faces a similar issue with Turkey and Qatar supporting it. So this is happening across the board, and I think Sharaa is riding this wave and enjoying it, and maybe soon he'll start acting as its leader.
Is Israel right to insist on protections for the Druze in Syria, even at the expense of a possible security agreement? Because no one else seems to care about this minority. I mean, many people around the world haven't even heard of the Druze in Syria.
Well, absolutely. I think it's the right thing to do. I think it's the humanitarian thing to do. I think that the Druze, like many minorities, face extinction, which is unfortunately the story of most of non-Muslim and non-Arab minorities in that part of the world. I think also Israel has a strategic interest in keeping the south of Syria sort of demilitarized. We know that Turkey is trying to encroach. Turkey is trying to maybe construct a military infrastructure. So no one thinks that Israel beat Islamist Iran in Syria to replace it with an Islamist Turkey. So I think this is the underlying script that not many people are talking about. But what we see is a confrontation that's coming up maybe soon between Israel and Turkey. No one wants this confrontation to happen, but I think each side is preparing for it.
Hussain Abdul-Hussain at the FDD, thank you so much.
Thank you.